Hi guys, it's Valerie. Today we are going to be doing a yoga Pilates fusion for our abs and our booty. So we're going to go ahead and get started in a tabletop position, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. We're going to start by extending our right leg nice and long behind us. Kick through that back heel, lift it nice and high. We're going to bend that right leg and we're just going to kick the leg up towards the sky. Squeeze that booty, squeeze it, lift it nice and high. Tiny pulses if you're trying to stomp at your foot on the ceiling. Awesome job. Last 3. Last 2. And then we're going to straighten that leg. We're just going to drop the toes and lift them nice and high. Notice how my core is staying nice and tight and my low back is not arching to help lift my leg. I'm just squeezing my glute and lifting. Lift and lower. Awesome job. This time we're going to lift up and we're going to drop it to the opposite side of our opposite leg. Lift it up and tap, over and tap. So now our core has to stay nice and tight so that we don't sway our body from side to side. Beautiful. Last 3. Last 2. And then let's extend that right leg nice and long behind us. Reach that left arm forward. Pull the belly up and in. And then bring that elbow to the knee, round the spine. Inhale. Exhale, crunch it in, find that balance. Nice job. Reach it forward and then round the spine, hug it in. You got this. Last 1. Hug it in and hold here for 3, 2, 1. Let's extend. Keep that right leg nice and lifted. We're going to see if we can tuck our left toes under and lift our right leg nice and high and come into a 3-leg down dog. Awesome. Spread those hands maybe a little wider than shoulder width distance apart. Turn the right toes down. Lift throughout the heel and the inner thigh. On the exhale, we're going to round it forward. Come into a downward facing dog crunch. Inhale, lift nice and high. Exhale, crunch. Lift it up. Lower it down. You got this. Squeeze it in. Last 3. Last 2. And 1, we're going to take that foot, we're going to step it all the way through, step it all the way to the top of our mat, and we're going to inhale, we're going to rise up. I'm going to switch my side so you can see what I'm doing. Inhale, reach up, bend into that front knee, we're going to open it up for a warrior 2. My right arm is reaching forward, my left arm is reaching back, 90-degree bend in that front knee. Sink it down nice and low. My back leg is nice and straight, and my front heel is in line with my back arch. Bend into that front leg. Keeping the legs exactly where they're at, we're going to reverse our warrior, reach it up and back, and come all the way back into that warrior 2. Reach it up, reverse, lower. Our instinct is to straighten that right leg, but we're keeping it nice and bent, just working the arms, reaching it all the way up and back, and coming back to our warrior 2. 1 more time, and this time we're going to straighten that right leg. That's nice. Lift that right arm forward. Lift that left arm nice and high. Open up through the rib cage here. And stay light on the right fingertips as we're going to do some crunches. We're going to lift up and lower. This is a great ab workout for those little love handles that we have in the back. We're really targeting that area right now. So you want to try to hinge forward from the hips. I'm not rounding down and lifting up. I'm keeping my body nice and lengthened through the crown of the head. I'm reaching up with that left hand and I'm just hinging forward and coming back up. Hinging and reaching. Last 3. Last 2. And 1. We're going to come back into our lunge here. Come on the ball of that back foot. We're going to take some nice dips. Option to bring your hands down through heart center. We're going to keep them lifted as we lower and lift. Lower and lift. Nice job. Try to maybe see if you can get that left knee super close to the floor. It's okay if it taps down. Just don't slam it down on the floor. Be nice and gentle to your body. You got this. Feeling that right glute for 3, 2, and then 1. We're going to hold here. Really dig down into that left knee. Not touching the floor, hovering above the ground. That right leg is nice and straight and strong. Let's put our arms behind us like little airplane wings. Hinge forward. We're going to lift up and then lower all the way back down. Come back into our lunge. Round forward, lift up, And then lower all the way back down. You got this. Lift up and lower down. Last 3. Last 2. And 1. We're going to hold here. I know that right booty is burning. We're going to take our hands to prayer. Try to keep that chest nice and lengthened. Option to take your hand on something for support here to make sure your back stays nice and lifted. We're going to lower and lift that back leg. Lower and lift. Drive through that heel. Lift that booty. Squeeze high. Lift and lower. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Nice job. We're gently going to tap that foot all the way to the back. Inhale, reach the arms nice and high. Exhale, let's plant the hands down on the mat. We're going to take our left hand, plant it on the inside of that right foot, and we're going to reach that right arm nice and high. Nice deep breaths here. And then we're going to go ahead and bring our hand down to the floor. We're going to step the left foot up to join the right, and we're going to find a nice forward fold. I'm going to face you so that you can see what I'm doing. Spread those feet about hip width distance wide, maybe a little wider. We're going to lower down into a malasana, yogi squat. Sitting up nice and tall. Really sink down into those hips. Take a little stretch here. And then gently see if you can lower yourself all the way down onto your booty. And when we arrive, we're going to take a nice Sukhasana easy pose. Sitting up nice and tall, we're going to take our right leg. We're going to place it on the floor. Keep that knee bent. Option to keep your hands on the floor or one hand on the floor. We're going to lift that right foot. We're going to start to kick it behind us. Option to keep your hands in prayer for an extra challenge. Hover that foot above the ground. Start to kick it all the way back. And then bring it all the way forward. Nice job. You got this. Really squeezing that glute as you run it all the way back. Yes, squeeze it. Come forward. We're warming up that hip joint. We're loosening up the muscles around the hip joint, strengthening that hip joint. All good things. Last 2. And this last one, we're going to hold it back. Really lean forward if you have to, and then we're going to do tiny little lifts. Even if it's just a little baby lift, we're squeezing that glute here. Lift up, lift, lift, lift. And then we're going to plant the hands. We're going to shoot that right leg out nice and long behind us, and we're going to come into a half pigeon. So you're going to scooch that right leg back. Let those hips sink down, and let's take a nice little stretch here. We're going to be stretching that left piriformis as we're about to go through the left side. Nice job. Perfect. Plant those hands. We're going to tuck the right toes under and see if we can lift that left leg nice and high. And we'll come all the way back down into our tabletop position. For our second side, let's go ahead, extend that left leg out nice and long. Bend that left leg, tiny little pulses up towards the sky, as if you're kicking the ceiling with that foot. Nice job. Deep breaths here. Breathe through this. You got this. Really squeezing that glute for 3, 2, and 1. Lengthen that left leg nice and long, and then we're just tapping it and lifting. Tap down, lift up. Notice how my back is not doing the work for me. My belly stays nice and tight, and I'm just lifting with that left glute. Lift and lower. Lift up and down. You got this. Now lift up and tap to the opposite side. Try to keep that core nice and steady here. Breathing through. Awesome job. Last 3. Last 2. And then 1, you're going to extend that left leg nice and long. I know that glute might be feeling it. Reach that right arm forward. Exhale, hug it in, round the spine, crunch. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, crunch it in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. 1 more time. Exhale, round it in and hold here for 3, 2, 1. Let's lengthen that left leg nice and long. Tuck the right toes under. See if you can lift the hips and come into your 3-leg down dog from there. Or just bring that left foot down and come back into your 3-leg down dog when you're ready. Let's take that left knee, bring it in towards the forehead, round it in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hug it in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring it in, round. Really tuck the chin down in towards the knee, and then lengthen. 1 more time, hold here. Lengthen that leg and step it all the way through. Let's rise up into our crescent warrior. Draw the rib cage in. Nice deep breath. Exhale, warrior two. Open it up. Reach that left arm forward. Find that 90-degree bend. And we're going to come back into our dancing warrior. Reach the arms out. Keep the legs where they're at. We're going to reach it up and back. And come back into our warrior two. Lift up and lower. Reach. Feel that stretch through the left side of the body. Feel that strengthening in the left leg. Beautiful. Last two. Last one. And this time we're going to straighten that left leg. Reach that left arm forward. Find a Trikonasana, triangle pose. Pull the hips forward a little bit. Pull that shoulder back and reach the right arm up towards the sky. And we're going to come back into those crunches. We're going to lift and lower. Notice that both my legs are as straight as can be. It's okay if there's a micro bend. That's better than hyperextending. And you're lifting this part of your body right here. Lift up and lower. Lift and lower. Let's get those love handles, ladies. Lift it up and down. You got this. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's pivot back into our crescent lunge. Reach those arms nice and high. Pull that belly up and in. Take a nice deep breath in on your exhale. We're going to lower, lengthen, lower. Lift it up nice and high and then lower it back down. You got this. Keep that bend in that front knee. We're burning out that left leg now. Here we go. Last 3. Last 2. And 1. This time we're going to hold it here. Lift it up and then plant. Foot back down. Lift it up and plant. Lift and lower. Lift us up if we're climbing, going hiking. We're strengthening that muscle. Strengthening the muscles around the knee joint. 2 and 1. Let's rise up and hold here. Option to bring your hands in prayer. Maybe you find a wall and you're going to lower and lift. Lower and lift. You got this. Really lift up. Lift up through that right leg. You got this. Nice job. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Nice job. Let's put it down on the ground. Right hand to the inside of that left foot. Twist it out. Feel a nice little stretch. And then we're going to plant that left hand down. We're going to step it up, find a forward fold, but we're going to end back in that yogi squat. Toes out, heels in. Let's catch our breath here. Take a nice few deep breaths. Let those hips sink down nice and low. And then we're going to gently lower our booty down onto the ground. Find that Sukhasana easy pose. Sit up nice and tall. And this time that left leg is going to come onto the floor. We're going to lift that left foot. Kick it behind you. Bring it forward. Yeah, nice job. Here we go. Feel that glute. You got this. We're working that hip joint. Working the muscles of the glutes and the inner thighs and the quads and the hamstrings all at once. Last 3. At 2, we're going to hold and pulse. Just kidding at 1. And then lift, lift, lift and lower. Lift it up. Nice job. For 3. Squeeze that glute for 2. And 1. Let's come into our half pigeon stretch on the opposite side. Let the hips sink down. Feel that stretch in the right glute. Maybe lower it down onto your elbows and breathe here. Nice deep breaths. Hang out in that pigeon. And when you're ready, we're going to ground into the hands. We're going to tuck the left toes under, lift the right leg nice and high. Maybe take some hip circles. And we're going to end up back in our downward facing dog. Let's drop down onto the knees. Big toes to touch, knees apart. And we'll find a child's pose. Let your forehead in on the mat. And let's take some nice deep breaths here, breathing into that child's pose. And when you're ready, we're going to start to walk those hands forward. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips up, and come back into our downward facing dog. We're going to bend the knees, lift the heels nice and high, gaze in between the hands, and make your way to the front of the mat. Find a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, nice straight spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. So for chair pose, the shoulders are away from the ears. My rib cage is drawn in, sinking down into those hips. And my knees stay sinking it down. Sink it down a little lower. Squeeze those inner thighs. You got this. Maybe you start to hinge forward. Bring your forehead parallel to the ground. Bring your body parallel to the ground as if you're sitting in a chair very awkwardly for 3, 2, 1. Let's fold it forward. Beautiful. Let's rise back up into that chair pose. Ground into that right leg. Lift that left leg nice and high. Hands can come in prayer. Let's work on our balance. We're going to kick that leg back and rise all the way up. Extend the leg back. Rise up. Beautiful. Lift the chest. Lift up. Strengthening that right glute once again. Using our core here for 3, 2, and in all the way down, we're going to find a standing split. Lift that left leg nice and high. And on the exhale, we're going to find a Shiva squat. That left ankle is going to come behind that right ankle, bend that knee, and then lift, lower, and lift. Feel that right glute working here. You got this. Nice job. For 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Lengthen that left leg nice and high. Step it all the way to the back of your mat. And we're going to find that twist again, the left hand to the inside of the right foot. Reach that right arm nice and high, but this time we're coming in for a challenge. Ground into that left hand and move into your side plank. Option to stack the feet or stagger your stance. Option to also drop down onto that left knee. Let's find our plank variation. Reach that right arm nice and high, and then we're going to thread the needle. Lift it nice and high. Thread it through. Lift it up. Thread and lengthen. We're working the shoulder joint, working our core. Nice stabilizer muscles are all fired up. Last 3, last 2, and 1. Let's drop down onto that left knee. We're going to reach the arm forward, reach the toes, and then exhale, crunch, and lengthen. Crunch it in, lengthen, using that core, using our balance. You got this. Last 3, last 2, and 1. Nice job. Let's bring that right hand down. Let's find a plank pose. Hold here. And we're going to start to walk our hands back towards our feet. Keep your legs as straight as can be. And then we're going to walk it all the way back out. Doing a little inchworm action. Walk the hands back. And then walk them all the way back out. Nice job. You got this. Using our core. Using our arms, using every part of our body here. Awesome job. Last 1. Let's come all the way down and keep the hips nice and lifted. Let's find that downward facing dog. Awesome. Maybe pedal out into the legs here. Let's lift those heels nice and high. Gaze in between the hands. Step or hop to the front of the mat and find a nice forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose, rise up, sink the hips down, gaze down at those toes. Can you see all 10? If you cannot, sit those hips back a little bit more, sit the weight into the heels. Beautiful. Let's bring the arms out like little airplane wings. Start to bend those knees and bring your belly onto your thighs. Reach the crown of the head forward, sit those hips nice and low. Option to bring the hands forward for 3, a little more core strength, 2, and 1. Let's find a forward fold. Beautiful. Rise all the way back into that chair. This time we're going to ground into the left leg. That right leg is going to reach nice and high. We're going to find our balance. You can bring your hands to heart center. Kick through that right heel. Lift it back up. Kick it back and lift. Using that left glute. My core is nice and tight. My spine is straight. So if I have to go a little less far, make sure my back stays straight. That's where I want to head. Nice job. Last 1. Bring the hands down to the floor and let's find those Jiva squats. Take that right leg, cross it behind the left, and then lift up. Bend that left leg lower and lift. Bend the left leg, extend the left leg. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Nice job. Lower and lift. Keep going. And then we're going to take that right foot and step it all the way to the back of the mat. I'm going to switch sides so you can see me. That right hand is going to plant to the inside of the left foot. We're going to reach nice and high. Let's find that side plank. Step that left foot back to join the right. And let's thread our needle. After this, we're taking it to the floor, I promise. Let's thread and lift. Thread it down. Lift it up. You got this. Working those shoulders, working those glutes, working that core, working everything today. You got this. Emphasizing that booty and those abs. Last 3. Last 2. And 1. Awesome job. Let's drop that right knee down onto the mat. Lift the fingers up. Lift that top leg and then crunch. Lengthen and crunch. You got it. Hug it in. Pull it together. Last couple coming up. Last 3. Last 2. And 1. Hold. And then let's go ahead. Find our plank position. Hands underneath the shoulders. Let's drop the knees. In through the nose. Let the forehead rest down on the ground. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and come back into a tabletop position. I'm going to face this direction. We're going to go ahead and we're going to lift that right leg nice and long. Extend it nice and long behind us. Turn the toes towards the right. Bring the leg out towards the side. Point the toes. Kick it all the way back. Bend the foot. Extend it out. Point the toes. Reach it back. Nice job. Try to keep that core nice and straight. 1 more with that straight leg, and this time we're going to bend the knee, bring the knee to the elbow, and extend it back. Nice hip circle, bring it forward, and then kick it back. You got this. Last 3, 2, and 1. Nice job using that core, using that glute. We're going to switch right over to the second side. Extend that left leg out nice and long. Turn the toes out, kick it out. Extend it back, point the toes, kick it out, and then extend the toes. You got this. 1, that straight leg after this. And then we're going to bend that knee, those giant circles, bring it forward, kick it back, round it forward. Yes, try to bring that left knee all the way to the elbow. You got it. 1 more. And then let's go ahead. Bring our booty to one side. We're going to make our way all the way down onto our back. You guys earned it. Let's take a nice full body stretch. Reach the arms, point the toes. Nice deep inhale. On your exhale, let's hug the knees into the chest. And we're going to go ahead and drop those heels down onto the floor. Awesome job, guys. You are getting close to the end. Hands down by the sides. Ground into those heels. We're going to lift the hips up nice and high. Lower down. Drive through and lift up. Draw those inner thighs towards each other. They don't have to be touching, but you don't want your legs to splay outward. Our legs are staying nice and strong and parallel to each other. Lift up and lower. Using that core, using that booty. Lift, squeeze, and lower. Squeeze and lower. This time we're going to hold up at the top. We're going to lift our heels off of the floor. See if you can lift those hips a little higher. And then lower the right heel and left heel. Right heel and left heel. Keep those hips nice and high. And left heel. Lift those heels, both heels down, toes off the ground. We're going to walk those heels forward. Keep the hips nice and high and walk those heels back. Nice job. Lower and then walk them all the way back. You got this. Working those glutes, working that core. Keep those hips nice and lifted. Let's lower all the way down. Hug the knees into the chest. Take a little break. Maybe gently sway from side to side. And we're going to go ahead and drop those feet back down onto the ground. This time we're going to extend that right leg nice and high. We're going to take our hands, reach the fingertips towards the sky. And we're going to exhale, lift up, crunch over to the right. Lower down. Lift up, crunch up. Lower down. Lift and lower. This time when we lift, we're going to reach straight for the toes and lower. For the toes and lower down. lift up, and lower. This time we're going to lift up. We're going to lower down. Hands are going to come down by the sides. Lift that hip off the ground. Lower all the way down, and then we're going to rise up into a one-leg V-sit. Lower all the way back down. Ground into that left heel. Lift the hips nice and high. Lower down. Rise up. One-leg V-sit. Lower all the way back down. It's okay if when you rise up, that left leg kind of slides forward to help you out. Lower all the way back down. Just make sure that heel comes close to the glute for your glute raise. Beautiful. We got one more after this. Lower all the way down. Ground into that left heel. Lift the hips nice and high. Lower. Rise all the way up. And then let's go ahead, lower all the way back down. Take a little breaky here. Before we go ahead, lift that left leg nice and high. Reach the hands up towards the sky. Interlace the fingers. Release the pointer and the thumb. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, crunch over. And lift. Over to the side. You got it. Crunch it up. Really squeeze that core. 4, 3. Straight up in 2. And now we're reaching for the toes. Reach for those toes. Reach up and away from the floor. You got it. Nice job. 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Let's bring the hands down by the hips. Ground into that right heel. Lift the hips nice and high. Lower the hips down. Rise up. One leg V-sit. Lower all the way back down. Ground into that right heel. Lift up. Lower down. Rise up. You got this. You are doing so good. And we are almost done. This is challenging. Challenging yourself. Beautiful. Last 2. Last 1. Reach it up. Nice job. Let's lower all the way back down. Hug the knees into the chest. It is time for the core portion of our workout. We're going to do all these one time, and then we are going to burn out at the end, and you guys are good to go. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to stack the knees on top of the hips. Bring the hands behind the head. We're going to rise up. Bring that left elbow to the right knee, and then switch it out. Lengthen. Lengthen if you want to challenge yourself. Maybe you lengthen your legs and switch them. Find those nice deep breaths. Really pull your shoulder across the body and not just use your elbow to kind of pull you over. I'm lifting my whole upper body off of the mat and I'm pulling across the body, squeezing that core in. You got this. Last 5 each side. Come on, push yourself. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Let's hold onto the right. Left elbow towards the right. Squeeze it in. Bring it down. Opposite side. Hold. Awesome. Let's lower it down. Take a little breather. And let's go ahead into our next exercise. We're going to stack those knees back onto the hips again. And our hands are going to come down by our sides. We're going to rise up and gaze down at that navel. This is called the hundreds. We're going to pulse with our hands. Gaze down at the navel. Option to straighten the legs and bend. Straighten, bend. Option to keep your legs straight if you really want to and play around. See how low you can drop your feet, but just make sure that that low back doesn't come off the mat. We're breathing here. Last couple of pulses. You got this. Lengthen and bend. Lengthen and bend. For 3, 2, 1. Awesome job. We're going to move into our fullest extension of this exercise, the hollows. So option to keep your knees here, and we're going to rise up and hold that same thing. Option to lengthen those legs out nice and long, and option to reach your hands back. We're holding here for 15 seconds. You got this. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze everything in nice and tight. You got it. Hold it in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Hug the knees into the chest. Beautiful. We're going to come onto our side and come onto our elbow. We're going to kind of scooch our hips back so that we're on our glute muscle of our bottom hip. Hand can come down towards the ground, or for extra challenge, it can come behind the head. We're going to take our legs, we're going to lift them nice and high and lower. lift. This is a mermaid crunch. We're working a little bit of the sides here, the obliques. Those love handles are coming back into play. A little bit of that core. Nice job. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lift it up. Nice job. Let's switch it to the opposite side. Bring that right hip down. Bring that right elbow down, or whichever is your opposite. Legs can be straight or bent. We're going to lift up and lower. Find that same arm variation you did on the other side. Lifting, breathing into those love handles, into that core. Squeeze it in. Nice job. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. You got it. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome job. Here comes our burnout. We're going to do lever plank. What we're going to do is come onto those elbows. Option to be on your knees or your toes. We're going to our hands parallel to each other. Come up onto those toes. Tuck that tailbone in. Option to be down on those knees. Wherever it is, if it's your toes or your knees, you're going to start to step them backwards so that your elbows come forward of your shoulders. Nice, strong arms here. And then move those toes a little farther back. Nice. Breathe here. It's going to get harder the lower your belly gets to the floor. Maybe scoot your toes a little bit farther. Squeeze everything in. Breathe here. Maybe your toes go out a little farther. For 3, 2, 1. Let's go ahead, drop down. Push the floor away. Shine the chest forward. Beautiful. Your exhale. Let's sit it back into a child's pose for those glutes. Breathe here. Make sure you take some time to stretch today. That was a great workout. You guys did awesome. I'll see you next time.